Welcome all who have joined this session, and welcome Rajesh to this series of session wherein we have been asking and actually requesting our alumni group who have become MRICS to be able to join these sessions and guide our students in with their journey and experience on how did it materialize for you, and what was your journey when you thought of MRICS. So welcome to the session. For our audience, Rajesh is 2018 graduate from CEQS, and he is currently working with GMR as a junior manager. So, Rajesh, if you would want to give a brief introduction.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Brijesh. I'm Brijesh Patel, working with GMR Hyderabad International Airports as a quantity surveyor. So I'll tell you the overall path, like how it got started and how currently what is the progress of the career. So, I graduated from Nagpur University in the year 2013 with a civil engineering background. After that, I was working with a contractor firm for 1 year on a government project. So, I mean, there I was mostly on the site execution role. Uh, then I moved on to a developer firm wherein I was put on a township project. And there also I got some new roles like let us say estimation. I got into estimation, and in the meanwhile I also got an opportunity to work for a US based consultancy. So I worked with HSM Modifies Construction Services Private Limited, which is a US based firm, and that is the first point where I used Revit for the takeoffs, and I was thrilled. I mean, I got more interest into the estimation part. So from there, then I decided that I want to pursue my career somewhere in. I had some options like I had some cousins who were doing for project management somewhere, doing in the quantity surveying. Then I recognized that okay, my interest area is quantity surveying. So then I moved for CQS course at RICS in 2016-18 batch. So the first thing, the knowledge which I gained from RICS was, really at par I mean, it was well up to dated, and it was very well updated knowledge that you updated knowledge base that you acquire there, because the professors which teach you are not only they don't only teach you the theoretical things, but as they have got the industry background, so they will actually teach you what are the practical difficulties, and what are the latest procedures or operations in the construction industry, and there will be various. I mean, the most important learning I got was from the case study based assignment from RICS, which I really miss now also. They'll put some case studies for you, and then you'll learn, and then you'll try to implement whatever theoretically is being taught to you. So after that, in 2018, somewhere in Feb, I got placed with a GMR. So then I joined GMR in May 2018, and since then I'm working as a quantity surveyor. So when I was working as a quantity surveyor at GMR, I understood. Through interaction with various other industry professionals, I realized that the knowledge we carry is really wonderful. I mean, it's really at par with the people who are already present in the industry with more experience than us. They'll have more experience, like a 20, 25 years of experience, 30 years of experience, and the knowledge which you have will still be at par. I till today I don't see, any terminology which theoretically has not been taught at RICSSBE. So whether it's related to contracts, I worked for various departments at GMR earlier during my training session for 1 year. So whether it's contracts, whether it's the quantity surveying, whether it was like project management, anywhere you were thrown into, like you were put into, and definitely with the knowledge skills you had, with the knowledge base you acquired from RICS, you were able to tackle, and you were able to give the results which industry was expecting, which the company was expecting. So, I mean, this is a benefit which I could see after getting graduated from RICSSB. Then after in somewhere during my convocation, I thought that I'll go for MRICS, and that is where I opted for it. I mean, I applied for the MRICS through our business team. There is a proper team, membership team, which will support you with all the procedures and processes. So then I got enrolled, and from the day one, I was of the, I mean, I was very sincere towards I want to anyways crack this. So I chose, I mean, Nihan Nanyam sir as my guide, and as my mentor. So and I had an industry mentor also, who is a design head at GMR. So that is how, I mean, the process started. So from the day one, I mean, although I lost some 6 to 8 months, I'll say, from May to December I enrolled, and January I started working. So I think that I lost that 6 to 8 months till the time I realized that whether I should start from this point, or should I take more time, or should I absorb some more knowledge from the company and then I should start. So in my personal opinion, I believe that there is no such right or wrong time here in order to enroll for the MRICS accreditation, because you basically, if you see the structure of MRICS, you'll find that it is divided. Basically, you have. I'll tell you the complete process. I'll take you one by one through the complete process of MR. I mean, how you get registered and how you become an MRICS. So, starting with number one, you get enrolled. Once you get enrolled, you have to select your pathway. So once the pathway is selected, you select your mentor, you select your industry guide also. Once that is done, you will have to select competencies by sitting with him. I mean, once the pathway is selected, then the next option is the competencies. So competencies, I'll just tell you, like there are some mandatory competencies. Those are like 11 competencies, which are mandatory competencies, and they have various levels defined, level 1, 2, and 3. So there are different levels to which a particular competency has to be reached. You have to reach that pinnacle. So I'll tell you what is level 1, 2, and 3. So being a part of RICSSB, I believe you all are eligible. I mean, you all have level 1 competencies. So you won't feel such difficulty in acquiring level 1 competencies, because level 1 is the theoretical knowledge that you acquire from your various day-to-day subjects that you learn from RICSSB. And those are the subjects which will, I mean, which will clear your, I mean, the understanding and the learnings which you have received, the theoretical knowledge which you have received will help you to write your level 1 competencies. It will help you to sail you through the level 1 competencies. Level 2 is the application part. I mean, how you apply whatever you have learned from SBE, from the school. So that is where level 2 competency comes in, and that is how the practical approach should be. So I believe the way you have done your case studies at RICSSB, wherein you apply your theoretical knowledge, whatever has been taught by your professors. So the same way you have to apply this, but it will be in a more practical. It will be more in your profession. I mean, the environment wherein you are working, the site or the a project wherein you are working. So I think a level 2 will also not be that difficult. It will be. I mean, you can sail through it easily. Then comes the level 3, which is the advisory part, wherein I believe that you should develop that kind of expertise wherein you are able to provide advice to your company, to your clients, to your colleagues, or whoever it is who is working with you, your stakeholders, all the stakeholders. And that advisory competencies, I mean, to achieve that level 3, that is the advisory level, for there you need a lot of confidence and a lot of expertise, and that then only you can showcase that level 3 competency. So once these competencies, I mean, are selected, I'll tell you, for mandatory you need to select around like 11 competencies which are mandatory, and there are different levels which are defined for all those competencies. For level, I mean, then is the technical competencies, which is the core competencies, wherein you can select 6 competencies. There will be certain options which will be given to you to select your competencies. In mandatory, you won't get any option, but in technical core competencies, you will get, let us say, some list of competencies, out of which you will select 6 competencies. After that, you'll have another technical competencies, which is called optional technical competencies. Optional is wherein you get you need to select 2 competencies, and you need to take it to the level 2. So every time you select the competencies, there will be a level which will be defined against all these competencies, wherein you have to take your knowledge level up to, I mean, to that level. So once you are done, I mean, with the selection of the competencies, then you what happens is that based on your practice, I mean, level one, as I told you, you can write it easily in your, I mean, through your theoretical knowledge. Level two application part, you have to see on which project you are working, what is your role based on that. And it doesn't depend like you if you have got a particular role so that you cannot choose other competencies. No, it's never like that. You can implement level two competencies also. I mean, you can show your application. I mean, just for based on your professional roles. I mean, whether you are a QS, you can show various application part like how you applied, how you if you're doing a cost planning, you show how you used NRM 1, 2, and 3. NRM 1, let us say, for cost planning, and how you project that. I mean, how you prepare your budget. So it's not like you go into the complete level 3 or level 4 kind of a breakdown as given in the NRM. You can use some standard formats of an NRM, and you can showcase your competence in that way. So that shows your application that yes, whatever you have learned in the school, you're applying it. Level 3 is wherein your advisory comes in. So basically, I will say that if something has been given in the design or somewhere, I'll just quote an example. So you can give always you can always give value engineering solution to it, wherein you can save cost and the time. One such example I like to quote is a practical example where if suppose like I do various industrial and warehousing projects here at GMR. So that means basically logistics park and aerospace industrial park project. So you have a specific term, a big ticket item as per Pareto 80-20 rule. You call it as a industrial flooring. So industrial flooring is a big component. Now, what happens in the industrial flooring is that, I mean, you use a traditional reinforcement in order to strengthen the floor. Let us say some loads will be defined to you by your tenants or your client. They'll say they want a flooring with 5 ton per square meter loading. So then you design it based on your conventional reinforcement and all those things. These days, I mean, I believe that those convention, and there is that is the area wherein your role comes into picture. Now, if you are well acquainted with the technology, you have studied various construction technologies at SBE. Now, you need to do and capstone-based projects which you carry on at RICS, wherein you do some research. You need to you study about some technologies. You see, I mean, which are the agencies like IITs, IIMs, IITs, or which are the agencies, ISOs, who are validating those things. I mean, you have got some proven results. When you write a literature review, from there you can learn those things. So similar way, like I suggested to my management that instead of going with a conventional reinforcement, uh, I propose that we should go for steel fibers which are given by various companies. I'll just name one of the makers, Bekaert. So those, I mean, we'll replace the conventional reinforcement with the steel fibers. That was the suggestion which gave to the management. And uh, I mean, when we did a cost benefit analysis of that, after that proposing that value engineering solution, we found that we have saved on various aspects. I'll just name them. A few of them were like, let us say, we saved on time. How is the question? And the for time and the cost. Basically, these two are the main constraints in any construction project. So time, I'll just tell you that in order to tie a conventional enforcement, you require a lot of manpower and time is also consumed in order to tie a reinforcement as per the design. What happens when you use a steel fiber? You just mix it directly with your concrete with the help of a mixer. They have a mixer. You mixed it with that, and that is how you cut down your labor cost and the time. So the time also gets converted into cost, and the labor which you are saving. Let us say first you are deploying around like 50 people to tie a certain square feet of area. Now you can replace it by 2 to 3 workers and a machine which is coming in. Then when you do a cost benefit analysis, I did it from my end. So I found out that we are saving around like 7% of the cost along with the time. So this is how, I mean, was the advice. I mean, I'll say this is what I suggested to the management, and we got it implemented. Nowadays we are implementing it in on our every project wherein we do industrial flooring, because it saves on time. So saving time gets converted into money for us because we rent out our spaces, we lease out our spaces. So it the more quickly we finish, the more quickly we'll rent it out, we'll lease it out. So that adds to the value. So that also is gets converted into a monetary term. So this is how, I mean, the level 3 competencies can be achieved. Now, once you are, I'll just coming back to the process. Once you have done with level 1, 2, and 3, level 1, you there are certain like word limits, and each and everything is defined in the in the your guidelines, wherein you have to see, you have to follow those guidelines, and you have to stick to those word limits to demonstrate those competencies. So, how this will happen now? Once you start writing about your competencies, there is also called there is a portal called ARC portal, wherein your account will be opened and you'll do your submissions online, and your counselor will approve it online based on your workings. He'll give you your improvements. He'll give you suggestions that wherein you need to improve. So it's a continuous back and forth process wherein you have to fulfill the standards which actually is required in order to get a MRICS accreditation. Then once all these things is done, your final report has been submitted. You'll have you'll get a it once it is assessed and once it is cleared from your counselor, you get an opportunity to select to select an interview. You get an opportunity to select an interview, your interview schedule. So based on your interview, now interview is a standard 1 hour process wherein you have to, there are some assessors, like I said, 2 to 3 assessors will be there, who will be the construction experts. You never know from where they belong before the interview. So that is how, they may be some, they may be from contracts background, they may be from QS background, you never know that, but all are MRICS or FRICS qualified professionals. Now what happens is that there is a 1 hour interview process in which you have to give a presentation based on your case study, which you write. Case study is your 3,000 word limit was there earlier. Nitin sir, you can correct me if it is the same or it has been changed during recent 2 years. So you need to stick to those word limits. You need to write your case study. Based on that case study, you need to prepare a presentation. Presentation will be given. Then there will be a question and answer session wherein everything will be tested by the examiner who is taking your interview, by the interviewer who is taking your interview. So they'll check your knowledge for level 1, 2, and 3. They'll never say you in the interview whether they're putting a level 1 question, level 2 question, or level 3 question. You have to identify by yourself, because if it's a direct type question, if someone asks you the direct definition, you need to identify and you need to figure out that, okay, this is a direct question, that means it's a level 1 type question, and you need to answer accordingly. Level 2 is where they'll ask you about your application part. So all those things will be an indirect. There will be an indirect question wherein they won't tell you whether it's a level 1, 2, or 3, but you have to assess it during the interview and you have to give the right answers accordingly. Then all these things, after this question and answer session, lastly you have around like 5 to 7 minutes of session for the RICS ethical standards, wherein they'll check your knowledge on the ethical standards of RICS. So this is how an interview is conducted. Then they'll give you, your results will be disclosed. So this is what happens till you gave your examination and all that. So once you get it cleared, once you get the chartered recognition, I believe me, you will be. It's a very elite recognition, I'll say, that you get, because you become a part of approximately around like 140,000 other professionals in the industry who have such a recognition. So second thing, it also commands respect. You When you say that you are an MRICS, or whenever when people know that you are an MRICS, or you're a chartered or quantity surveyor or a project management professional. So there are a number of like pathways which RICS also gives you. So based on your interest, you have to choose one. So once you become a chartered QS or a PM, or based on, or a management contracting consultant, then what happens is that once this is done, so you get a good recognition in this industry, and this chartered professional, this chartered recognition also opens the door for international opportunities for you. So your visibility in the industry increases. You become a part of a big network of the professionals in the industry. So there are there are many benefits that comes to you once you get this recognition. So you also get access to different RICS codes, and different learnings, and different international codes, which are followed across the globe. And yes, one thing I forgot while stating about the the MRICS process. So that there is a CPD. There is a uh, compulsory sessions which you have to do. This can be formal, informal session, wherein there are certain criteria. Like if you are doing it in a 2 years, so minimum of 96 hours of CPD hours are required, wherein you can the wherein you have to demonstrate that you have done these courses, and wherein or you can just say that you have achieved this some training sessions which you achieved in your organization. You can just mention about that this is the training session. These are my learning outcomes. So that will also be part of your report when you submit that. So I think I've made it very much clear, and this is all from my side.
Beautifully explained, Rajesh. That was something, explained everything starting from the, the very first step that the person needs to take in terms of, understanding this concept, and to be able to be sitting in the interview explaining what the person has, attained, achieved in the form of CPD or the experience at the every level. And getting that qualification. So it was really, really well explained, and I'm sure people who are part of this conversation would have really liked that kind of explanation. So, guys, I open the floor to you to be able to, ask questions, and if you may have any, queries still after, this kind of detailing and few other sessions that we have done in the past with Ayush and Kavish. So, open to you guys if you may want to ask any questions. You may want to use the chat window or raise your hand to be able to speak up. So essentially, British, while they try and identify that query, uh, generally people are really curious about it. Probably they really think when should be the right time to be able to enroll it. Uh, while we say that it is recommended that as soon as you graduate and you have a placement offer, or probably you have joined some organization, you should identify your pathway and start the enroll that training membership, so that you are able to capture your work experience, the CPD hours and so on. What is your say in this?
So, I'll say that although I started, like I enrolled it in December, and I qualified for, I was a pass out of 2018 May. So I still feel that I have lost some good time, let us say 6 to 7 months of time. I believe that I should have started it while I was in school only, because I was in that phase of learning. The level one competencies. So basically, now after 6 to 7 months, I have to brush up few things. So that brush up would not have been required if I would have started it earlier while I was in the school. So I'll say that, and I see many professionals, like I have after me getting an MRICS, I see many professionals in I work with a developer firm, so I have interactions with various design consultants, various n number of consultants, whether it's a PMC, it's a design consultant, or it's a third party audit consultant, or anybody, or if it's a contractor. So I see people with a good amount of experience in the industry are also looking for getting an MRICS accreditation. So they come to me, they ask me, sir, how you get it? And it's a pride moment for you when you have such recognition at such a young age. So I think that age should not be a barrier, neither which company you are placed in, or what is your roles, what is your responsibility. I don't think that should be a barrier. See, it's a continuous learning process, I'll say. Some people can, if you take a 1 year or a 2 year in order to finish the complete process, I think it's a good time, because it's a complete process. You have gone through different phases. You have got different learnings, different competencies learning at different times. So it should be a continuous process only, wherein, and you have to start documenting it whenever you learn a new thing. Wherever you think that okay, this will fit into this competency, you just document it for that competency, and you have a word with your mentor that whether the thing which you have documented is right, or you can take his suggestions anytime. So I believe it should be. If somebody would start it at a very young age, or I will say that if you start it after you are placed, so that your workloads, you're relieved. Your pressure is released. So while you are in school, you should enroll. You should start. completing your CPD hours and all those things. And slowly, when you move out of school and so at least you can finish like till the time you join in like a organization, first 2 3 months here. Let us say you will also take time to get acquainted with the process and all those things. So that is wherein you can complete your level one processes in first 3 4 months. I'll say you can target it, and then based on your like as you move further in your organization with with the more responsibilities on your shoulders. So that is wherein you can move to application part and then the advisory part. This is how it will go. So it will go on very smoothly if you do it at a very initial stage. That is what I will say. Anyways, I mean, there is no right or wrong time. I'll again suggest, but my personal advice will be that you start after you are placed or once you're out. I mean, you're just getting out of the school.
Right. So sooner is the better because you may get added responsibility at a later stage when you grow in your career, and that might not be the right time for you to prepare on certain CPD hours or doing some documentation and so on.
Right. So to just Nitin sir, just to add to like currently I see some of my friends who are enrolling as I'm a counselor now. So they also are enrolling for MRICS because they also now regret being late because the way I completed it in the after 1 year of my graduation, and now these people some of my friends are enrolling, and I can also see that where in the industry also there are many areas where you get a competitive advantage when you have an MRICS. So and many companies recognize it in India as well, and definitely you have a broader scope in the international market. So as I said, your visibility increases. So that is how you get you develop your network. And secondly, you will also see sometimes some job advertisement in LinkedIn, which will very clearly highlight that okay, uh, we need a quantity surveyor with an MRIC. That is where you have an competitive edge over other competitors.
Right. And I'm sure you must have been, contacted by some of your seniors as well, who might be, looking for a certain piece of advice to be able to, you can, being a junior, but you now being an MRICS are is a, senior professional that ways, and you could actually help them to, attain the similar kind of qualification. So, taking up few questions from the chat. So, Ramya, let's start with you. I think you have also enrolled, if I'm not wrong, as a trainee member.
Yeah, yeah, sir. I have enrolled and my counselor is Neha, sir.
Okay, please go ahead with your question.
Yes, sir. So first, I have two questions. What if it won't be difficult for a fresher to give advice in all six things? I think it will be difficult, right? How did you manage? And my second question is, what if my job role limits me to only to quantity and costing, rather than into contract practices and tendering side?
Yes. So, as I said, that there is no right time in order. There is no time limit to finish this competency. So, once you get an early start to it, you can finish your level one. But as you said that, okay, if your job roles are restricting you with certain responsibilities, so what you can do is you can excel in those kind of responsibilities. You can go move to level two and level three for the responsibilities which you already have at your job role. But in order for other competencies to go to, because there is a set of levels which are defined, so it's not like every competency you have to take to the level three. No. So based on your roles, you can choose some competencies wherein you feel confident that okay, based on my responsibilities, I is somewhere down the line, let us say 6 months, 8 months, 10 months as a fresher, 12 months, based on the exposure which you get in the industry, you will be able to make to the level three. So wisely you have to select your competencies and you have to work accordingly. And second thing I'll say that there is no right or wrong time. So it may, so for some professionals, yes, definitely what you asked, it may take some little time in order to gain exposure from. If your job roles are limited, in order to get the exposure, it may take some time to acquire knowledge of other competencies, or it may take some time to demonstrate the other competencies. But you can have an interactive session with your, the mentors. which the mentors are there who can guide you, like how you should progress in, and with whatever responsibility you have, what how you should develop your learning database. I also I remember my internship days, like I was put into a like a PMC firm, and being an intern, I'll say being an intern, I was not given access to all the cost data, or to most of the cost data. I'll say 90% of the cost data. Mostly, I was given access to the standard operating procedures that they follow for an organization. But for the cost data, I was not given the access. So Nihar sir was also guide for me at that time. Then I was like, I had a word with him, sir, like this is how it's going. This is how my internship is progressing. Like I don't have access to data for being a quantity surveyor. I want to have more access towards the cost data, how the cost is controlled, how those things are put in, all those things. So then he told me, he gave me a direction, because a mentor is the person who who teaches you how to think rather than what to think exactly, because he gave me the direction that okay, with whatever constraints you have, this is what will be your learning. So he gave me kind of activities which kept me engaged, although I was like very much upset with the role which I got during the internship. But he gave me the right direction, wherein I progressed in the same way. Like he gave me some exercises. I developed my same. I worked in towards those exercises, towards achieving those exercises, and that is how I was able to figure out, like somewhere or the other time, that helped me, because what he gave me was on the manpower productivity. So as I was being a QA, I was spending some time at the, let us say, in on site. So he told me that how I should learn, how I should try, trace the productivity of a particular work. So and somewhere I learned, somewhere I got only the productivity data, although I didn't got the cost data. But somewhere down the line, when I got exposure to the cost, I was the one who realized that okay, no. So if we put, let us say, this many number of vendors with this many technology, with this with all the things, all the conditions, when I recognized that okay, this was what was used during that time. At that time I realized that okay, so this will be the cost which will go for this much amount of work, and this is how the overall so yeah, I developed my planning skills, and then when I added a cost to it, it developed into a cost management skill too. I hope I have answered your question, Ramya.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thanks for
So yeah,
clarifying.
just stick to the learnings. Just take the time. It's not like it's not like a instant noodles that you'll just pour in water and you'll just heat it up and it will be ready. No, you have to give some time.
Sure, thank
Sure,
you.
sir.
And we have another question coming from Ritdeep. Please go ahead, Ritdeep.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm
Yeah,
Ridip
yeah.
Singhal. I'm a final semester student of MBA Real Estate and Urban Infrastructure.
Right.
So, sir, my question is, first of all, sir, like two few years back, MRICS was not even recognized in India. 75 or 80% industry didn't even know that what is MRICS accreditation. So,
Okay.
is MRICS being recognized in the real estate industry, and up to what extent? And secondly, sir, my question is, what changes did you experience in your professional life after becoming a MRICS?
Yeah. So in order to give you a real-time example, so first of all, being a RICS professional, definitely you are someone who has a little bit competitive advantages as compared to the other industry professionals of your age, or let us say more experience than you. That is what first thing I realized. Secondly, moving on to like finishing the second part of the question, like after completing the MRICS. So what happens is that when you have like I sit for various negotiation meetings and all those things. So I realized that when you there is a when you exchange your card wherein you have written that you are an MRICS professional, so it grabs the attention of the person who is interacting with you. They also, our industry, it demands respect. You get an addition, you get a respect, although age factor not being a barrier in this. Whether you are a very young professional or Once you grow old, you become then you acquire an MRICS. So other than that, because I've interacted with many, PMC directors. I won't disclose their name, but who are MRICS at a very, at a very older age as compared to me. But when I interact with them, they definitely it gives them also confidence that no, these people follow the RICS standards, and they are the ones who deliver best in the industry. So that is how you get. And secondly, as I said, visibility. So visibility is another factor which you will gain. So I'll give one or two more live examples. Like, I being a junior manager, I've been sent to many negotiation meetings, not only in the city where I'm working, but direct with the client interaction based on the skills which we acquire from RICS. So, and being a MRICS professional, they also recognize that the way you talk, the way you provide advice, what is the right time to speak, and when there is the right time to speak, what you speak. So, uh, see, I get direct opportunities from my CEO, and he sends me to the various meetings, negotiation meetings. So that is what the kind of faith that they have in the MRICS people and the RICS professionals. And that is what at a very junior level they send you, because I also have many people who are working above me, let us say at managerial position, or because GMR has a very big vertical hierarchy. So if there are AGMs, there are associate managers, there are a number of managers who are working. There's a big change, but still keeping all those things, I get an opportunity to attend all those meetings. So this is how you make a difference when you have an MRI.
Thank you, sir.
Another very good example, if while there are a lot of senior members or professionals working in the same organization, if you have that kind of qualification, you are probably treated at par to someone who is at 10 years of experience, or more than that, and you are equally getting probably the opportunity to engage with the business, or with the clients, and other key areas that a person would actually get access post probably 10 to 15 years of experience. So thank you very much for sharing all those insights and details, Brijesh. And being conscious of the time, one last question is what we can take from the audience. Guys, if you have any further queries, we please put it across so that we can wrap it up within time. So I think there are no more queries for now, and I hope people have a detailed insight of what they have been looking at. And thank you, Ramya, for joining in and share, asking your queries. I see that you are already a trainee member, and you have been coming up with relevant questions once you are on the pathway, and you try and work it out on your learning curve. So good to see you there, and thank you so much, Brijesh, for sharing such an in-depth, detailed, journey, and the detailing of each and every bit of it, which actually really helps us to understand how things really works. And it's not really difficult, or really, you need to really plan it well, or structure it. So it is something which is a flexible arrangement, and again, sooner the better, because it will help you grab the all the aspects of different various levels with the 2 year of training membership journey. So thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your support there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to all the joinees for attending this. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.